So why don't you start by introducing yourself, your name, your title, and the organization that you're with?
Yeah, so I'm Gabriel Perna.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the digital health editor at Modern Healthcare,
Mm-hmm.
which is a news publication that covers the business of healthcare.
That's great. So is this your first HITLAB summit, or have you been to these in the
No, this is
past?
my first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are
yeah.
you looking forward to in your time here? Are there any particular speakers you're interested in? Or are you just here to meet as many people as you can
Yeah,
possibly
I
meet?
like to meet folks.
Mm-hmm.
I like to go to conferences and just connect with people.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the industry grow, and
Mm-hmm.
just it's always fascinating to meet people, whether they're starting a company
Mm-hmm.
or they're established. It's always fun to just kind of hear what people have going on. So I go to these kind of events for networking and just to meet folks and make connections.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So part of digital health publication, I was wondering if you had any opinions about trends that you've seen over the years in digital health and maybe even some predictions for what you might see in the future.
Sure. Well, it's funny because I just asked them on stage to give me some predictions
Okay.
with the note that you can't really tell the future, but I'll try anyway.
Well, you try and tell this future.
I'll try and tell the future. No, in terms of trends, I mean, everyone's talking about AI right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's kind of the hot thing right now in healthcare, and the chat GPT-fication of medicine is kind of interesting, and it's something that we've been following a lot. But there's also developments elsewhere. Some of the interesting things happening with wearables and happening with digital therapeutics. These are interesting spaces where the technology has developed and has started to make inroads, but the payment mechanisms, how people are reimbursed for using them, maybe they haven't quite caught up as much. So it's an interesting space to watch. I think healthcare has never been seen as the most tech-friendly industry,
Right.
but I think the narrative is starting to shift. So in terms of predictions, I think if you're in AI in any capacity, you're in a good place right now. That's for sure. But I also think in general, it's still a good time to start a company in digital health. It's still a good time to develop ideas. The economy's not as friendly as it was a couple of years ago to the founders, but that doesn't mean no one should try. The industry is still very much open, and innovative ideas are needed because a lot of the systems are still very much broken. So I think it is a good time to be a founder and start up a company in this space.
Yeah, absolutely. So you brought up AI just like everyone else is.
Of course.
So I was wondering if there's anything that people maybe aren't talking about that you think deserves a little bit more attention, something that you've noticed that deserves a bigger platform.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting speeches that I saw here was from the CEO of SUNY Downstate, and he was talking about just some of the realistic nature of not just AI, but also technology in general. I think when you cover the industry and when you read and engage in the industry, you kind of forget that a lot of the country doesn't have access to broadband. A lot of the country, small steps of improvement with technology would be a giant leap. Underserved areas, I think there are exciting things happening, with Medicaid populations that probably don't get the same kind of coverage, but are just as impactful. So those are, that's kind of an area where I think I wish there was more noise, because I think that is just as important.
That's great. So as a publication, how do you guys think that you're benefiting patients, medical professionals, the general population by getting information out there and getting people involved in digital health and health tech in general?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're providing knowledge. There's a lot of hype out there about digital health. I mean, I think the industry has taken off, which is a great thing, but it's also, it can be overwhelming for anyone, whether they're a health system executive, whether they're a health insurance executive, whether they're a digital health founder. Anyone who's in the industry is going to get overwhelmed by what's happening. And I think what we provide is cutting through a lot of the hype and focusing on what's real, what's happening, what's plausible. And I think that's why, the SUNY Downstate one spoke to me, because those are real things happening. It's not just something that was written up in a press release that goes out to the media. So, yeah, it's cutting through the hype.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to answer my questions and for your insightful responses. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And good luck to you and the rest of your ventures, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the summit.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Bye.